This evening, Ministry of Education debunks no vaccine, no cash grant rumors. Truck driver dies after crashing into a parked truck on the east bank of demerara. Constitutional reform saga continues as the AG cries foul on the opposition's no-show. In the region, ex-rebel fighters GUSTAVO PETRO wins Colombia's presidency, and internationally, India, military call-in amid devastating floods. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. The Ministry of Education has debunked rumors that school children need to get vaccinated to obtain the government's cash grant. Vice President Dr. Jaglio has made it clear that there is no vaccine requirement for children to benefit from the government's Because We Care or school uniform grants. The Vice President, responding to a concern raised by a Paradise Region 5 resident on Saturday during a meeting at the community center ground, dismissed the narrative. He categorically denied the claim, while also urging people to ignore such misinformation. Dr. Jaglio said the vaccines for school-age children are voluntary. Quote, "Nobody is forcing none of our children to take the vaccines. It is up to the parents," end of quote. The Vice President assured Guyanese that the grant set aside for the nation's school children will be distributed without discrimination. He also made it clear that vaccination is unrelated to any of the administration's support measures. Guyana recently procured the Pfizer vaccine for children in the 5 to 11 age category, and the Ministry of Health is currently rolling out vaccination campaigns. While vaccination is being encouraged to eliminate the spread of COVID-19, consent is required from parents and it is entirely voluntary. A 27-year-old truck driver was killed on the east bank of demerara after the truck he was driving ended up in the back end of a parked truck. Esther Sobers has more details.
A 27-year-old man has become the latest victim of road fatality after he crashed into a parked truck along the Bakery East Bank Demerara Public Road on Sunday, 18th June 2022. Dead is Ezekiel Edmond, also known as Zeke, of Lot 249 Plantation Hope, West Coast, Berbice, who was driving a truck at the time of the accident. Reports are that Edmond was going along the East Bank corridor when in the vicinity of Supply, he lost control of his car and collided with the rear end of another truck that was parked on the public road. As a result of the collision, Edmond received extensive bodily injuries. He was picked up and taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital where he underwent urgent surgery but subsequently succumbed to his injuries later. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Vendors plying their trade at the Leonora Market on the west coast of demerara, Region 3, will soon be relocated to make way for the rehabilitation of the old road at a value of $66 million. The contract for the 30 feet wide concrete road was awarded to Y Bola Construction Services. Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Deodat Indar, said land has been identified at Baghdad Market to relocate the vendors who are currently plying their trade on the roadside. This new area, which will be developed to make way for much-needed roadworks, can accommodate over 500 vendors. On Saturday, the minister conducted an outreach in the area where he met with the vendors and provided an update on the project. He explained that there was a challenge with the portion of land which was initially proposed, and immediately steps were taken to identify another area to house the vendors during the roadworks. In the interim, vendors were expected to benefit from a cleanup initiative to improve the market's environment. The works will begin on June 19th in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Works and the Regional Democratic Council and the Market Committee, among others. In April, President Irfan Ali visited the market and met with vendors, where he announced that the government's intention to construct a new tarmac and upgrade the Leonora Market All Road to create a more enabling environment for businesses. Some $69.3 million will be used to execute these works, which include the rehabilitation of the road and upgrade to the market. Stick around after the break. Constitutional reform saga continues as the AG cries foul on the opposition's no-show, and a funeral parlor in Berbice is in hot water after a body mix-up led to a family burying the wrong corpse. But before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality, men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands, and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about what you buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
They say that when it hits you, it hits you. A feeling so strong that it's impossible not to give in to a juicy piece of KFC. To feel elevated by the aroma and to free fall into its exciting flavor. Some call it love, attraction, desire. We call it KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Head to Clearance for a must-see Father's Day sale on Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th of June. Get 15 to 50% off all items for your dad. On sale will be men's pants, shirts, jackets, jerseys, Puma and Nike sneakers, 5% off Morel slippers, perfumes. Also available ties, belts, briefs, and boxers, as well as your favorite brands in men's shoes, polo jerseys, sneakers, and short sleeve shirts with matching Dockers pants. Get it all at Clearance on Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th of June. Happy Father's Day from Clearance, always keeping you in style.
Welcome back. Mayhem erupted at the PRESIDENCY funeral home in New Amsterdam, Berbice over the weekend after a 79-year-old man was wrongfully handed over and buried by another family. The elderly man, Mohamir Rangasamy, died at the New Amsterdam hospital on Sunday, June 12th. However, when his relatives turned up at the funeral home in preparations for his funeral, his body could not be located. They were shown the body of a 71-year-old Paul Samaru at the parlor but recognized that it was not Rangasamy. The man's relatives said he was tested positive for COVID-19 and, upon his death, they were informed that his body would be taken to the PRESIDENCY funeral parlor. They noted that they were told that PRESIDENCY funeral home would deal with all COVID cases and that they should not worry about anything. Nevertheless, investigations revealed that the man's body was not at the funeral home, prompting his family to explore the New Amsterdam Hospital mortuary and other funeral homes. The family soon found out that Rangasami's body was mistakenly handed over to his Samaru family and he was buried on Tuesday, June 14th. The funeral home confirmed that Rangasami's body was taken to their funeral home and the necessary arrangements were made. However, they instead gave his body to Samaru's relatives. Samaru's relative, after being informed about the mix-up, turned up at the funeral home to find his body there. His 24-year-old son said on Tuesday, when he visited the funeral home for the body, he was shown one, but he informed his staff that his father had smaller feet and was not so dark in complexion. But he was told that because of the time his father spent in cold storage, it was customary for the bodies to get darker. After the police intervened, permission was granted to exhume the remains on Saturday and Rangasami was cremated. However, Samaru is still to be buried. The constitutional reform saga continues, with the AG criticizing the opposition for politicizing this critical agenda. Here now is the source with the details.
The PPPC administration has tabled a proposal for establishing a constitutional reform committee, despite the opposition no-show at the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Constitutional Reform last Friday. According to Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Mr. Anil Nandalal, the government recommended that a constitutional reform panel be constituted by statutes and its members nominated by the President.
Constitutional reform is an important question in Guyana's democratic polity. So much so that every political party that contested the 2020 elections promised constitutional reform as a manifesto promise. The government accords constitutional reform high priority in its legislative agenda, as we also, as part of our manifesto, promised constitutional reform. We said in our manifesto that a constitutional reform commission will be established that will be similar to commissions established prior. We had in mind the 1999-2000 Constitutional Reform Commission. And we said that we will establish a constitutional reform commission along that line, and that it will be composed of 50% government and parliamentary opposition and 50% civil society organizations.
The Attorney General also stating that the opposition has yet to submit its proposal. Nevertheless, the Attorney General noted that work would continue, citing the administration is accountable to the people of Guyana.
Since April of this year, the committee made a decision that the government and the opposition will bring their proposals to the committee. I indicated since then that our position is very clear and it is stated in our manifesto, and that I'll bring it at any time. A date was fixed for the opposition to bring their contribution and their submission in writing, because they pointed out that they have more than one party in their opposition umbrella. Sometime in May was fixed for them to make a submission in writing. They have not done so.
The constitutional reform procedures require the consent of a specific majority of Parliament. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Women should participate in more non-traditional training programs offered by the Ministry of Labor's Board of Industrial Training. These were the words of encouragement uttered by Labor Minister Joseph Hamilton during a BIT graduation ceremony at the Anna Regina Labor Office Region 2 on Friday. 6 women and 3 men hailing from Wakapo village graduated from BIT's solar installation training program. The females are utilizing the skills attained to help enhance their communities. The participants from that program retrofitted their community center with solar lights and installed electrical wiring to ensure community members could use the center at night. Minister Hamilton is pushing to ensure women are participating in the free technical programs being offered by BIT. To this end, it has reduced the number of cosmetology programs being offered in various areas as a way of encouraging women to think outside of the box. The minister highlighted that 52% of the population are women, and he reiterated the government's commitment to upskill both men and women for opportunities that exist in the country. While in the region, Minister Hamilton visited St. Monica Mission to receive a boat that was made by several women who were participants in a boat construction program. The boat will aid labor officers to commute the riverine communities in Region 2 to deliver ministerial services. The ministry will soon be introducing joinery to the logging community of St. Monica. Don't go away after the break. Uplink cooperated workers in Maryland, USA vote to join a union, and Indian military called in amid devastating floods.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Gustavo Petro, a former rebel fighter who has promised profound social and economic change, has won Colombia's presidency. Petro's win on Sunday's presidential runoff elections will make him the country's first left-wing president, Al Jazeera's Teresa Ball reports.
The rain did not stop thousands of people from gathering outside Gustavo Petro's headquarters. The economist and former left-wing guerrilla won the elections with just over 50% of the vote. It's a new era in Colombia, the first time a left-wing candidate has won the presidency.
I want to cry. This is the first time we are going to have a popular government, from the left, from the people, of those who have suffered the armed conflict, and he is someone who represents us, the people on the streets.
These people have been demanding change in this country where liberals and conservatives have been sharing power for years.
Gustavo Petro has promised to carry out profound reforms in Colombia, like rethinking the war on drugs, rethinking oil and gas exploitation, and fighting inequality. And that's why all these people are celebrating his victory, because they believe that this is the beginning of a process of change.
This was Petro's third presidential bid. He's now a seasoned politician whose victory adds Colombia to the list of Latin American countries that have elected center-left presidents in recent years. On Sunday evening, he was presented to his supporters by his running mate, Francia Márquez, who will be Colombia's first Afro-Colombian woman vice president.
We are writing history right now, a new history for Latin America. What is coming here is change, real change, in which we commit to life itself. We are not going to disenchant our voters that have been screaming that from now on, Colombia changes.
Petro defeated 77-year-old populist Rodolfo Hernández, who was referred by many as the king of TikTok. But Petro will face many challenges. 47% of the country did not vote for him. Analysts say he will have to negotiate his reforms in Congress.
This is not only the first time that a left-wing candidate has been elected in Colombia, but also the first time that we have a left-wing Congress too. Because Pacto Histórico, the social movement behind Gustavo Petro, was able to elect a good number of Congress members. So he will have a Congress that is in favor of him. Not a complete majority, he doesn't have a majority in Congress, but he has a good number of Congress members. And that is also something that signs that he could have success in his term.
Petro will take office in August. For many, his government will empower the people in the country who have been ignored by authorities for years. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
Apple Inc. cooperative workers in the state of Maryland in the United States have voted to join a union, becoming the first retail employees of the tech giant to unionize in the country, Al Jazeera's Patty Kalhan reports.
A sound that is likely to ripple through the nearly $3 trillion company that is Apple. Able to beat back a move to unionize a store in Atlanta, but now defeated in Maryland.
I want to give a huge shout out to Atlanta because they prepared us for a lot of this stuff that they were going to do. So that helped us a lot.
By a nearly 2-to-1 margin, workers at the Apple store in Towson, Maryland voted to unionize, the first Apple store to take that step. In May, these workers sent a letter to Apple CEO Tim Cook saying they had the support from a solid majority, adding they wanted more rights to information and collective bargaining.
We're literally the face of Apple. How is it fair that we are being dictated as to what to do, what to say, how to act, but we don't get any say in any of the things that are happening in our everyday lives?
Apple has yet to publicly respond, but they did recently raise hourly wages from $20 to $22. This is just the latest massive company to see its workers move to unionize. One Amazon warehouse in New York did the same recently. After employees from a Starbucks in Buffalo voted to unionize, more than 150 of the company-owned stores have now voted to follow suit. Given the tight labor market, analysts expect this to continue.
A labor shortage, workers are emboldened as a general proposition, and also because of the consequences, the fallout, so to speak, of the pandemic.
These Maryland workers sent a message to try and make sure that happens.
Don't be scared, because it's scary, and that's okay. But don't be. Realize that if we can do it, you can do it.
But this is just a first step for workers. Now they have to try to negotiate and win concessions from some of the richest and most powerful companies in the world. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
And internationally, India's military has been called in to carry out evacuations after heavy flooding inundated parts of the northeastern Indian state, Al Jazeera's Pavni Mittal reports.
India's northeast is underwater once again. Continuous rainfall has caused heavy flooding, impacting millions of people.
Waterlogging has created issues for everyone. No one is able to get out of their homes and they can't go to the office. My shop is filled with water and it's damaging a lot of equipment inside.
Assam state is the worst affected. Heavy pre-monsoon storms caused flooding in April. Non-stop rain over the past few days has inundated dozens of districts. Evacuations are underway and the military has been called to assist. More than 150,000 people have been moved to temporary camps.
The situation had been a little grim because there had been heavy rainfall since the past few days, and the whole of Assam is inundated, and the quantum depends, it varies from place to place.
There are also floods and landslides in the neighboring Meghalaya and Tripura states. while in Bangladesh more than a dozen people have died and at least 4 million others are stranded. Continuous rainfall is hampering relief efforts, and both countries have drafted in the army to help. Authorities in India warn several rivers could burst their banks. Weather forecasters say the rain could ease later this week, bringing temporary respite. Pavni Mittal, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3rd weather forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.